There's this belief held by millions that our homes aren't just empty spaces, that there's another reality coexisting right alongside ours. And it's not a scary one, not haunted, but actually the complete opposite of haunted. So today, we're going to break down the 7 signs that could mean your home is under angelic guardianship. And look, this idea, it's not some new age concept. It's ancient. It's woven into texts like this one, from Psalm 91. And the key word there is command. This suggests that this protection isn't just random chance. It's an assignment. It's an active, intentional force tasked with watching over you. That really sets the stage for everything we're about to get into.
So before we go any further, we've got to get one thing straight. When we talk about an angelic presence, I want you to push aside those big cinematic images of wings and blinding light. That's not what we're talking about here. The sources describe something much quieter, something more subtle. A ministering force that works behind the scenes to guard, protect, and literally transform the environment around you. It's not about a sudden flash of light. It's about a slow, steady change in the very atmosphere of a place.
All right, let's get into the first sign. This is probably the most common one, but it's also the one we're quickest to brush off. Just writing it off as coincidence or maybe a lucky break. So sign number 1 is unexplained protection. And I think we've all felt this at some point. It's that moment where everything slows down and you just know. You know that disaster was supposed to strike. Logic says something terrible should have happened, but for some reason, it didn't. And we're not talking about something abstract here. These are real-world, tangible things. Those heart-stopping close calls, the narrow escapes, that car that skids to a halt just inches away, a heavy object that falls from a shelf but somehow misses everything valuable, even something as simple as a door just swinging shut at the exact right moment to prevent harm. See, the proof isn't some visible shield. It's in the outcome.
So I want you to ask yourself this. Have you ever been in a situation that was pure chaos, but deep down you felt strangely safe? Like something was holding it all together? Well, the texts we're looking at suggest that feeling is not a mistake. It's the first real clue, the first trace of a guardian presence.
Okay, so that's the external stuff. Now, let's take this a step further. We're going to shift our focus from the events that happen around you to the atmosphere inside your home. And this brings us right to sign number 2, a deep, profound peace. Now, it's really important to draw a line here. We all know what emotional calm feels like, right? You get home from a brutal day at work, you kick off your shoes, and you finally relax. That's a reaction to your day being over. But what we're talking about here is totally different. This is a spiritual peace. It's a presence that's there despite your circumstances, not because of them. It's a quiet that settles over you the second you walk in the door, no matter what kind of day you had. And again, this concept is rooted deep in Scripture. Take Hebrews 1:14. It calls angels ministering spirits. Think about that. Their role isn't just to be a bodyguard. It's to minister, to serve. They're described as actively bringing a sense of calm into places where, logically, there should be anxiety. They quiet that spiritual static from the outside world. Okay, so if you have this constant atmosphere of peace, it leads directly to the 3rd sign. And that's a kind of spiritual sensitivity that switches on the moment you're home. It's like your spirit just perks up. It becomes more alert, more aware, as soon as you step inside those 4 walls.
This reminds me of that story of Jacob in the book of Genesis. He falls asleep in a random place, has this incredible dream, and wakes up saying, "Surely the Lord is in this place. This is the gate of heaven." That's the idea here. When a place becomes spiritually charged, all the noise and distractions of the world they lose their grip on you. Maybe reading scripture feels different, more real. Maybe prayer just flows more easily. Your home literally stops being just a place to live and transforms into something more, a spiritual hub.
So what happens when your home becomes this inner sanctuary? Well, that energy starts to push outwards. It creates a kind of spiritual boundary. It becomes a protected territory. And this leads to sign number 4, which can feel, kind of weird. Have you ever noticed this? Certain people just stop coming over. Or maybe certain kinds of negative conversations just don't seem to happen in your home anymore. It's almost like some people just feel uncomfortable there. Now, the sources are really clear on this point. This isn't about isolation, it's about separation. It's a subtle but massive difference. This is framed as a form of protection. The idea is that toxic, negative influences simply can't thrive in that environment. They naturally just fall away.
because they're not compatible with the atmosphere you and your unseen guardians are building. This verse from Exodus really paints a picture of this. I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you. It's like having a celestial bouncer at the door. Your home becomes this protected zone. And honestly, not everyone is going to feel comfortable in a place with that kind of spiritual security detail.
Okay, so the territory is secure. The boundary is set. Now we go deeper. What actually happens? What kind of spiritual activity goes on inside this protected space?
This brings us to sign number 5, and this one is pretty incredible. It's the feeling you get when your home is completely quiet, but it doesn't feel empty. You know what I mean? There's an awareness of something, a presence. The silence isn't a void. It feels full. It feels guarded. For a lot of people, total silence is unnerving, but this is a kind of peace that completely replaces that fear.
It's a lot like that story in 2 Kings, where the prophet's servant is terrified, and his eyes are opened. Suddenly, he sees that the hills are filled with horses and chariots of fire, a spiritual army that was there the whole time, completely invisible to him. That's the idea here. The activity is always there. Your home is always filled with this presence. Your sensitivity is just finally catching up to the reality. That silence isn't empty. It is absolutely packed. And so this constant proximity, this awareness of an unseen reality right there with you, it creates a powerful connection. It has a direct result. And that result is sign number 6. Sign number 6 is simply speed. When your home essentially becomes a spiritual headquarters, an angelic outpost, things happen faster. Prayers get answered with more speed. Insights and clarity arrive quicker. That sense of peace settles in almost instantly. The line of communication just becomes direct, immediate. And all of this, all these signs we've talked about, they build up to one final, unshakable certainty. It's a feeling of security that is so much deeper than just locks on your doors. And that brings us to the final sign, number 7. And it all comes down to the difference between 2 feelings. Being watched, that's creepy, right? It creates paranoia, tension. But being watched over, that is the complete opposite. That brings a sense of safety, of peace, of rest. You don't feel exposed, you feel completely covered. It's that deep down calm you get when you just know that something powerful is standing between you and whatever is out there. And listen to the language used in this verse from Psalm 34. The angel of the Lord encamps around them. Think about that word, encamps. That's not a quick visit. It's not a flyby. It's a military term. It means setting up a long-term position. It means they are stationed there, on watch, permanently. This isn't a part-time gig. It's a constant, active guard. So when you put it all together, the big takeaway is this. A home can be so much more than just walls and a roof. It can be a fortress, a sanctuary, a place where heaven and earth meet. And so the question I want to leave you with is, what is your home a gateway to?